Students, so in the last class we discussed about the features of federalism. We discussed two features, right? That is, there are two or more levels of government. Different tiers of government govern the same citizens, right? We also discussed about the term jurisdiction. Now, the third feature, the jurisdictions of the respective levels are specified in the constitution. So, the existence and authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed, right? Now, first thing that you must notice here is that here I have tried to write it in one sentence. When you will be writing the answers, you will be writing the whole of it that is given in your book. Okay? Do not go for one line features. Okay? If it is mentioned in the book, well and good. If it is not, please complete, because here I'm explaining you. I know what is here, one sentence, and I'll explain you that, but you won't be able to explain me in written, right? So please complete your answers well. All right. So why constitution gets important here? Because each of these authorities, each tier of the government is actually getting its power from the constitution. And therefore, the jurisdictions of the respective tiers of the government are specified in the constitution. The existence, the authority of these tier of the government is constitutionally guaranteed. Fine, which means that in a federalism, constitution gets also very important, right? Coming to the fourth point, the fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. It requires the consent of both the levels, which means that if there, though whatever are the important provisions of the constitution, okay, those cannot be changed unilaterally. Unilaterally means by one level of government, and by one level of government you mean either the center or the state. It is not that the center can take its own decisions in changing the constitution. And when I say changing the constitution, I mean amending the constitution. Okay, now neither can state change the constitution unilaterally, right? What is required is that the cooperation of both, the consent of both center and states, both should agree. There is a procedure which I will explain you further in the coming chapter. I'll tell you what are the procedures. Okay, so it requires the consent of both the levels. Next, another important thing, courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of different levels of the government. The highest court acts as an umpire if disputes arise between different levels of the government in the exercise of their respective power. Now, the court is basically the guardian of the constitution. Court is the protector of the constitution. Court has a power to interpret the constitution. For example, since our constitution is detailed, if there are any provisions which are not being understood properly, which is misunderstood, or if there is any kind of confusions, then the power lies in the hands of the court. And that is how judiciary gets very important, apart from your legislature and executive that we studied in the last chapter about the organs of the government. Okay, so here judiciary gets important. Next, the sources of revenue for each level of government is clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. Now, here it is telling you that both the levels of the government, the center and the state, are financially independent. They have the autonomy to work on their revenue independent of each other. Yes, if the states needs assistance, then they can ask from the center, but that is considered to be the right of the state. Okay, it is not considered as a favor by the center. It is considered as a rights of the states, which also has certain grounds. It is not that the state can ask the center, regardless of any grounds, that I need money, you need to finance me because I need to do such and such work. No, there are certain grounds which are specified on the basis of which the states can ask the center for financial help. Otherwise, the states and the center both have their financial autonomy. Okay? Next, your last point. Now, here one of the last sentences mentioned, not clearly visible. It's to accommodate the regional diversity. Okay? So, the federal system has dual objectives. Number one, to safeguard and to promote the unity of the country, while at the same time to accommodate the regional diversity. Therefore, here two aspects are very important for institutions and practice of the federalism. Government at different levels should agree to the rules of power sharing. It's important to build a form of trust between each other, right? And an ideal federal system has both that trust and that agreement between the levels of the government in order to have a smooth and a stable form of government that runs the country. Okay? Now, this dual objective of safeguarding and promoting the unity of the country, how does it works on the level of federalism? Let's just go in detail. And about accommodating the regional diversity. How will it work? See, it is very much known that India is a country of diverse religion, diverse language, diverse culture. So do you think one level of government, that is only the center, can solve the problems if it arises also? It can never. You need a government that works on the state level also. Okay, that looks upon the administration, your day-to-day functioning, law and order, right? You need a medium to reach the center government, number one. Number two, you need your immediate guardian, right? As a citizen, you need your immediate guardian to look after you. Now, that is how you get safeguarded. Okay, that is how the state safeguards the unity of the country. Okay, how? If tomorrow some problem arises between, let's say, two regions of the country, let's say it is the most common, let's say it is Maharashtra and Bihar. Okay, so how to accommodate that problem? What if what if the people of Bihar gets offended by the people of Maharashtra, and what if people of Maharashtra gets offended by Bihar? Similar problem, let's say, exists between Delhi and Bihar, or between Delhi and West Bengal, or between any such regions of the country. These are still the states I'm talking about. I have not even stepped down to regions. After states will I include the various small districts also. There are problems on that level also. Who takes care of it? The state will. Because the country, the law of the country says that we all have the freedom of movement, freedom to study anywhere, to go anywhere. So on the level of regional diversity, the states cannot make any decisions, that is, the people of that particular state cannot take any stand, cannot do any such movement that harms the unity of the country because of their own regional interest. Now, what is a regional interest over here, students? The regional interest will be the interest of the people of Maharashtra and the people of Bihar. Now, because of your own regional interest, you cannot create factions, you cannot create problems because of the region, right? Why? If you will create problems, there will be kind of movement, there will be protest, the people will not be able to travel to from one part of Bihar to other part of Maharashtra, right? And that will further harm the unity of the country. People will start associating themselves not as Indians, but rather as Maharashtrians and Biharis, which people do today. But when people do today, yes, there are problems, but there are also a kind of understanding that we need to wake up, we need to grow up with the mindset that we are Indians and we cannot create problems. If we create problems within the state on such basis, there will be problems in the center. Center will check the states, right? So above the states, you have a center. Now, this is the objective, to safeguard and to promote the unity of the country, and next is to accommodate the regional diversity, right? So, that is how you understand the dual objectives in detail, not just reading that safeguarding and promoting the unity of the country and accommodating the regional diversity. Why and how is that important? I hope it is clear with everybody. All right. So in the next class, we will be studying about the kinds of federations, and that is coming together federation and holding together federation, this part. Okay, whether India is a holding together federation or a coming together federation. Right. Now, see, after studying about this part, features of federalism, when we'll come to kinds of federation, again here also we will study why India and why India is not a coming together federation but a holding together federation, right? All right, so it's done till here. I'll stop here for the day. Revise your features of federalism, write your answers in details. Okay, do not miss the points, go point wise and explain your points, okay, as mentioned in your book. All right. Okay, students, I'll stop here for the day. If you have any problem, do let me know. Thank you, students.